Hey, good morning. It's 7 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. I want to talk to you about building your online business, but first you have to follow through. So I keep literally getting questions over and over and over again that are the same questions that I got last year from many of the same people. And this isn't to make anybody feel bad, but we need to talk about where's your follow through today? Like when you say to yourself that, okay, I'm going to work out 5 times this week. Do you work out 5 times or does something get in the way? When you say you're going to get up at, 5 a.m., do you actually get out of bed or do you hit snooze on your life and find yourself always breaking your word? So what I found as an entrepreneur, there's really only 3 strategies that I use, and I only use 2 of them for the first 7 years of my business. So what I'm trying to say is, you got to think like from startup to multiple 7 figures, 8 figures in revenue coming into your business. I use 2 strategies for the first 7 years, and then the first 6 years, and then I opened up 2 other strategies and added a 3rd one. Why that's important for you to know is that often we are chasing so many strategies to try and get ourselves to succeed in life that there's really no time. There's really no time in our lives to do anything else but work. And that, I was reading a parenting book last night, and my son just turned 4 years old, and just little behavioral things like I want to make sure I don't control him and that I really inspire him to be the best child that he can be. So I'm reading a book a month right now. And the book I'm reading this month is not a business book. It's actually a parenting book. And so as I'm reading it, it talks about the importance of self-care. Now we could roll our eyes at self-care and go, oh, I know I need to do it. And I kind of started to do that when I was reading it in the book because I take off a week every single month. So I have something I've coined as flex time. So I've never felt that I don't have enough me time. However, when I kept reading the book, one thing I've really learned is follow through, which is why we're talking this morning, but like also follow through in the essence of not thinking that I know it all. So even though I didn't think that what the book was talking to me about applied to me because I felt like I handled that in my life, I still didn't think of myself as a know-it-all. And I kept reading that part of the book. And what I realized is with that follow through, I was able to see all these different statistics on how your energy responds to, the book was talking about your children. Like if you're super busy and you don't take personal time, then you actually don't have the ability to manage your mind. They talked about managing your emotions, to not lose your temper with your children. And I look back and I apply that to business because the thing that had my business explode was learning how to follow through. But I learned how to follow through because I started to take flex time in my life so that I was more patient, more calm, and really could manage my mind. So if you put me on a 4-week work month and you slam me with a lot of things to do, I don't care how far I've led my leadership will break down and I will start to become edgy, frustrated, overwhelmed. It's just a human response to too much. Now, here's what's crazy. I've been able to put too much back on my plate. And because I take complete flex time where I don't work on the last week of the month, I don't work on weekends, and it's like if I do that, then what happens is that I don't get overwhelmed. I can add too much on my plate and I never find that I hit this state of crazy overwhelm. I mean, literally everything can break and I don't get overwhelmed. And I know it's because of the space. So how does this apply to follow-up? Look at your day today. Did you even declare what you were going to complete today? Not a to-do list. Did you actually declare? Did you publicly declare, people around you, not just yourself, what you're going to create today? Well, what are you committed to today? The reason why you have to tell other people is they need to know what you're up to in order to create space for you to be able to create the result. So often what we do is we put our head down and we start working on something, and then people distract us, and then we get frustrated. So that's actually poor leadership. You need to stop. You need to tell everybody, hey, this is what I'm working on. Some people will interpret that as they don't want to bother you. Some people will interpret that as I want to provide space for you. None of how people interpret it is your responsibility. What's your responsibility is making sure that you teach people how to treat you. So my first, quest for you is to actually look at, what does today look like? Like, are you just kind of running off a to-do list that's super long and this looks empty, super long, this is empty. Are you working off a to-do list that's super long, and chances are you're not going to complete it by the end of the day? If you do that, you're going to feel unfulfilled by the end of the day, because you're not going to feel like, even if you completed some things, they're probably not going to be completed. So I want you to focus on your follow-up today. Just practice your follow-up. So if you have a to-do list, then I'd like you to identify, what are you committed to completing today? What are you committed to completing today? If you don't have any declaration today, meaning that maybe you don't even have a to-do list, I want you to start operating that even tonight, when you put a note in your calendar, an alarm that asks you to sit down at a certain time tonight, and just for 10 minutes, plan out tomorrow. I found that if I plan the next day, the day before, it really grounds me. So try it. I don't know if it will work for you, but that was something that I was told over and over and over again, and I neglected it. I didn't really take it seriously. And so in the morning, when you sit down and you're trying to create what you're going to work on in the morning, it's like the dog comes, the kids come, your husband, your wife comes, your clients, or somebody needs your attention. It's like there's just not enough time. And you got to get out of the conversation of there's not enough time. There is enough time. You just have to change the way that you manage your mind so that you set yourself up to win, and you also set the people up around you to win. So here's what it looks like. Really, the night before, but don't waste today. It's early in the morning right now. I'm doing this live. If you're watching the replay on this, you could stop your day and you could course correct right now. I mean, perfection is never the goal. Getting it done is. So even if it's not perfect right now and you're not set up for today, just take 10 minutes. If you have to go sit in your car to get some quietness, go sit in your car. If you got to go hide on your upper deck or something and hide, just go hide. Do whatever you need to do, but take 10 minutes for yourself. If you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, you are screwed. Your life is a mess. Okay, so you've got to grab a hold of it again and get a grip, and actually take 10 minutes for yourself so that you can plan this out. So every day I have actionables that are my completions, meaning that I'm committed to completing something. This is what grows my confidence as an entrepreneur, because every time I keep my word to whatever it is I say I'm going to complete, I feel like a superstar. I feel like, okay, I got this. And the more you can build up your love tanks inside of your entrepreneurial brain, meaning that the more you can fill it up with self-love, and self-love comes from keeping your word to yourself. That's one way of increasing your self-love. Then what happens is your confidence grows automatically with that. So if you are someone who needs to grow that, then this will help that, instead of you reading another book or praying about confidence. Confidence happens from keeping your word. Okay, so what are you going to complete? And then follow through. It's now you got to get into the game of follow through. So once you declare whatever it is that you want to create today, what you're committed to completing, use the word completing today, then you got to follow through. And so now you've got to organize your life in a way that's very simple. Everybody needs to know what it is that you're focused on. And yes, your world does somewhat go around you. I mean, you are the common denominator. And so as you're walking through your life, if people are not treating you the way you want them to, or if things are distracting you, that's I have found. I don't know if you'll find this, test it out. I have found that the more I tell people what my consistent days off, the more I tell them that I don't take meetings until 10 a.m., the more I tell the people around me, my clients, my team, my husband, my friends, the more they know how to rely on me. I want to be reliable. You want to be reliable, but I'm not reliable for you if you want to speak business on the weekends, because I don't do that. So there's a couple times a year I lead a 2-day event called Coach Yourself to Success. If you were at Coach Yourself to Success, I would love you to say, hi, I was at Coach Yourself to Success, and share a little bit about the power of that event. That would be very cool. I would love to hear that. But when I do Coach Yourself to Success, I do it a couple times a year, and I work on a Saturday. Other than that, I never work on a weekend, ever. My husband tried to say something to me yesterday, which was Sunday, about book. I'm glad you were at Coach Yourself to Success. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was such a good event. I heard, sorry, as I digress, I heard there were all these pocket communities that started to get created where people were helping hold each other accountable to succeed in what I taught you, which was super cool. I love that. Okay, so as I digress, my husband tried to talk to me about business yesterday on a Sunday, and he course corrected. And he said, oh, you know what? Can you remind me tomorrow morning to, there's 2 things I need to discuss with you in the morning. And I was like, yeah, sure. So it's like the more you tell people around you, the more they start to abide by your system and your methodology. But you have to follow through. If you don't follow through, none of this works. So how do you follow through? Well, if you only have a couple things that you're committed to completing today, I know there's a million things that need your time and your energy, but if you only commit to completing like 1 to 3 things in a day. And if you have a hard time completing things, you're a good starter, a bad finisher, I'd suggest just commit to 1 thing that you complete right now. Like for 1 thing for an entire week, then maybe next week add a 2nd thing, then the following week add a 3rd thing. Like develop the muscle of follow through. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. This helps so much, because if you set all the goals you want and you never really hit them, you can't blame other people for those moments of lack of success. I mean, you have a million walls to climb to be able to get to your success. So if you put 1 completion project on your book every day that you're committed to creating, then what happens is you can put yourself in a situation where even if life goes like crazy in a day and you come to the end of the day, it's like you committed to 1 thing. 1. You do have the power to finish 1 thing a day. You do. Even if you've got full-time job, 5 kids, an unruly husband or wife, like you can still complete 1 thing a day. And so build the muscle of follow through. And what will happen is before you know it, you'll look up and you fit more into your life. And it doesn't feel overwhelming. It really, I promise you, it really is a mental game of proper leadership. And as your leadership gets stronger, you stop giving your power away to drama. You stop giving your power away to what people say about you. You stop giving away your power to somebody who it's emergency and they need you right now. I at least have 1 emergency a day that somebody needs me. But if I'm in my pocket time where, let's say I don't take meetings at this time of day, I don't even see the inbound coming in, because I've set my whole life up to focus on the step I'm in. So instead of reading all the books that used to drive me nuts about our power as being in the present moment, I got that intellectually, but I couldn't figure out how to actually do it without mental discipline. And we go unconscious in our thoughts all the time. So now the way that I've hacked that in my life is I've just focused on the step I'm in. I mean, it's everywhere. I have it everywhere. I have it on my cups. I have it everywhere. And when I focus on the step that I'm in, I stay present. I get out of overwhelm and I complete what I start. So that's a wrap for 7 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. Go do something with it today. Like align your day to practice what it is that I'm teaching you. I mean, if you were coaching with me privately, you would probably at least have this conversation 3 or 4 times in a year. So take it off Coffee with Shanda and go do something with it. All right. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow morning on 7 a.m. Coffee with Shanda.